All right, good afternoon, everybody. We have a special meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. The time is now 4 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the City website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and/or video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of the meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin? Here. Councilmember Bodnar?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Here.
Councilmember Meyer is absent. Mayor Mullock?
Here.
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz?
Here.
City Manager Dietrich?
Here.
And Deputy Clerk Turner?
Here.
In Council, we have one resolution. It's 81-01-2026, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act and JSA 10:4-12. This is to discuss the Beach Patrol Headquarters project contract, discussion on law enforcement and dispatching shared services agreements with the Borough of West Cape May, collective bargaining negotiations for the GW Local 2327 Middle Management, and PBA Local 59.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin?
Yes.
Mayor Mullock?
Yes.
Public portion, Mayor?
Is anyone here wishing to speak on this resolution? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and go into closed session.
Time is 4:02.
All right, good evening, everyone. We are coming out of a closed session meeting in which we discussed a variety of issues, several of which will be on the agenda tonight, and we'll explain them in a moment. But in the meantime, do I have a motion to close the closed session?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With that, we will open our regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. The time is now 9 minutes past 5 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted to the city website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. The City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade.
Here.
Councilmember Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Mullock.
Here.
City Solicitor Gillenschwartz.
Here.
City Manager Dietrich.
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner.
Here.
And Council, we have several additions this evening. Are we comfortable in me reading them all and then one motion to add, and then you can vote separately on them later, okay? Perfect. So we're going to add 8701, 2026. This is a resolution establishing a task force for the creation of uniform standards for city signage. 8801, 2026, a resolution of the City of Cape May approving agreement with the Borough of West Cape May for law enforcement and dispatching services. 8901, 2026, a resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the City of Cape May and the Police Benevolent Association, Local 59. And 9001, 2026, a resolution of the City of Cape May requesting the governor to issue a state disaster declaration for the New Jersey's beaches in response to storm damage. If we have a motion to add all of those to the regular agenda.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
Okay, on to updates and old business. Council?
Any updates or old business, council? City manager?
Thank you. I have a couple. First, I wanted to update council. Good news, we received our CAFR permit from the DEP for the desalinization water treatment plant. So we now have all permits necessary to move forward with that project. I'll be meeting with all the council members individually to go over some capital bond projects. But we met with bond counsel and the auditor last week and previously, and we're anticipating possibly having some bond introduction ordinances to move some of these projects ahead coming up in February, so next month. Next, I'd like to recognize Deb Lindholm, our tax collector. She received a higher certification for tax collectors. There's a second level of certification, and she's now eligible to be a tax collector in all municipalities. There's a heightened, certain municipalities, you need a special certification based on their size and type of government. She has passed that test and now holds the highest level of tax collector certification, which from my understanding, there's not a lot of them that hold that higher level. So she's in definitely a minority, but so it just really goes to show the outstanding work that our tax collector does for the city. I will. The next thing I just wanted to discuss was the mayor and myself, along with several other mayors and administrators, took a trip down to D.C. Geographically, they're almost across from us, but but I guess we'll use down to D.C. to make our pitch and really talk about the state of the beaches, especially in Cape May County. And we met with a lot different legislative teams from the state of New Jersey, as well as the appropriation committees of both the Senate and the House of Representatives. And the really good meeting was with the Army Corps of Engineers. So we met with those. And what came out of really the important thing was obviously having a consistent message and trying to understand and trying to get a long-term funding support, dedicated funding support, which I think if you saw in the papers, Congressman Van Drew is introducing some legislation to try to dedicate shore protection funding. But what we need in the short term is to request from the governor of New Jersey to declare a state of emergency for our beaches. Hence, I think that was Resolution 90 that Aaron talked about. And so I'd ask that council move forward with that, because that opens up a pot of money that the Army Corps has to do emergency work. Federal dollars, federal Army Corps dollars, and it can only be used for work, Army Corps work for states of emergency. So the governor of a state has to declare a state of emergency in order to open up this pot of money. So it's not readily available. So in order for a city to get its beach filled, you would have to go through the normal procurement process through the federal budget. Cape May City's beaches were in line to have beach fills this cycle this year. So we are, I think our beaches are in okay shape. There are some hot spots that we could use some more sand. The Coast Guard base, which is part of our reach, is starting to see some wearing on their beach. But I think it'd be prudent for all communities along the coast, whether it's Cape May, Atlantic, Ocean, or Monmouth counties, to encourage the governor to declare a state of emergency for the condition of the beaches to open up this funding would be helpful. And then the last thing I had discussed with you regarding the construction at the lifeguard building. The contractor has requested 2 change orders. They've been recommended by our architect, Rob Conley Architects. Change order 1 is for a total of $15,787.70. That includes removing the solar panels off of the roof. Some of the work, we thought we were going to be able to get it up there and just not have to move the panels, but they actually all have to come off in order for them to do the work. There's also some minor plumbing work that needs to be done as part of that change order. And then change order 2 in the amount of $13,104. It's for 6 helical piles along the front of the building, underneath of which will really support the addition of the area underneath the women's locker room. Once we tore off the old decking, we exposed the pilings that you couldn't really see because there's deck boards over it, that those top 3 feet, 2 to 3 feet of the pilings are all rotted and need to be secured for structural support. So I'd ask for a motion to approve those change orders, and then we would follow up with a memorializing resolution with all that documentation at the next meeting. But in order to keep the contractor moving, I would need authorization for those this evening. Thank you. And I just need a motion vote for that.
I'm comfortable with that. If you'd like to do a motion to authorize change orders 1 and 2 for this project, and then we'll prepare a formal resolution for the next meeting.
Does everyone understand it? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the
Do
motion.
I have a second?
I'll second.
Does everyone understand what we're doing? Okay. Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I just would also note, aggregately, they are well under the 20% threshold that's required. I didn't do the quick math, but they are under the 20% threshold.
City Solicitor, any updates?
Just briefly for council, many of you may have seen in the news, the state legislature and governor signed the Bill S 4834, which is the e-bike legislation. So, and reason I want to address that is just to speak to how that might interplay with the ordinance that Cape May and many others have adopted lately. So the city's ordinance has tended to be a gap filler, and that is relating to really more conduct in town, not driving on sidewalks, and the way that those e-scooters and e-bikes and motorbikes should be operating within city limits. And other towns have adopted similar provisions. The state law that was passed recently really deals more with licensing, registration, and insurance requirements, which is really something the city and municipalities, specifically us, we don't want to get into. And there is a grace period for those requirements, and there's age requirements. So, people that are 14 and under aren't going to be able to operate these e-bikes. And the definition is pretty broad. It's even the slower moving ones versus the ones that can go a little bit faster. But there'll be a special license for those people falling in, the 15, 16-year-old, and then anybody with a license can really operate them. But specifically in that new law, they do leave room for local governments to legislate locally how these things are going to operate on bike paths and things like that. So it really does call out the type of discretion that you would expect the legislature to give to municipalities and local agencies, and that the city has already enacted. So I'll point out that if there's any more legislation on this, we have a built-in provision that indicates we're not trying to overwrite any federal laws or state laws that are more specific, but in the absence of more specific provisions, this is what we want to see in the city. And again, it's treating it the same way as a vehicle. We don't want to see cars on a sidewalk. We don't want to see motorcycles on a sidewalk. So we don't want to see these things on the sidewalk because of the safety hazard that brings. So, and specifically, these things are called out as vehicles under the state law too. So I see it as there's some synergy there between the two. We're certainly not stepping on any toes with the things that we adopted, and this is another supplement providing, a greater degree of regulation and documentation for those types of vehicles that are going to come into the city. So I'll keep you posted on any further updates, but I just wanted to indicate that things appear to be moving in the legislature. This one moved pretty quickly, and any further developments or any changes that we may need to make to our ordinance or modifications, we can address that in time.
If I could just ask regarding the registration and licensing, does the state statute that was passed, does it provide any information or any guidance for our residents or people who are working in Cape May at this point in time?
They're charging the Motor Vehicle Commission with coming up with a framework for that, and there's a grace period built in for 6 months for that now, and I think they're going to try and use that time for the Motor Vehicle Commission to kind of give some more guidance, more specific guidance on costs and how that's going to work out.
Can I ask a quick question? Does this cover scooters as well, or is it all motorized, all electric bikes?
So scooters are, as I read it, treated differently under this law. It's really, so any e-bike, and again, this could be the power-assisted ones or the pedal-assisted ones, the ones that go really fast or the ones that could just go relatively slow. They're all treated the same, and a lot of bike groups have kind of raised their hand to say, hey, this is going too far. But scooters appear to be treated differently under this. So they're not low-speed electric scooters are indicated not to require registration or have a driver's license. So, and those are the ones that go 19 miles per hour or less. And they're defined differently under the law. So for whatever reason, those appear to be carved out. But for the city's purposes, we have a blanket, any one of these things is going to be governed by the conduct rules that the city's come up with. So that our ordinance covers all these things. How they've chosen to require registration, licensure, and other documentation is kind of up to the state level, but we treat them the same. I will say that.
Any other questions or comments, council? Is that everything?
Yep.
Before I ask the other council members, I just want to give a quick update, and this is on the agenda. At our last council meeting, we introduced Ordinance 588, 2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Code of the City of Cape May regarding on-street parking permits to confirm residency requirement. upon that introduction, we all spoke about a couple concerns and heard from a member of the public who had some concerns. I've since spoken to every member of City Council who no longer support Ordinance 588. And I wanted to put that on this agenda tonight. The way ordinances get introduced, there's a meeting in between before second reading. So this isn't due to be on the meeting until next agenda, I believe. So Ordinance 588 will be on that agenda. You can't just make an ordinance disappear, but especially given the fact that I heard from some folks who were not in the city of Cape May and would have to travel for that meeting, I wanted to make it very clear tonight that having spoken to every member of City Council, not one of those members supports that ordinance. So I just want to make sure that that's clear to everyone. Please don't feel like you have to come to the next council meeting. There will not be a change, I'm sure, having heard from everyone, that Ordinance 588 will be at that time tabled, which is, again, a technical term that basically means it is gone, unless somebody wants to bring it back up. But I don't, from having heard from everyone, that is not the case. So I just wanted to say that as a public announcement tonight, so that no one was nervous or felt like they had to be at the next council meeting next month, correct?
The 3rd. It's scheduled to come back.
February 3rd. So if you have a question about that tonight, please feel free to ask that at the appropriate time at our public comment time frame. But please know that, again, 588 will be tabled at the next council meeting. Having said that, City Council, any other updates or old business? None? We can move on to ordinance.
I forgot, I did have one other thing.
Go
So
ahead.
I was supposed to put a presentation on for this evening. We do have two gentlemen from Remington and Vernick. They're the engineers working with West Cape May and designing the First Avenue pedestrian bridge, or pedestrian bike bridge, I should call it. And they have made a presentation before our HPC, have gotten a favorable recommendation from the HPC, but in order for them to move forward from the city's perspective, because they're getting very close to needing to submit for a CAFR permit, and in order for that, the city would have to sign off on it, but in order, before I sign off on the CAFR permit, I wanted council to at least see the plans and the council be comfortable with that project moving forward as part of a city-sponsored project. I've asked them to come here and present I'll say the preliminary draft plans that they're anticipating submitting to CAFRA. You've got a kind of a sample of what the bridge looks like in different picture formats, and I think if I could ask them to come up and just kind of describe the project and give a better overview of what's going to be happening, I'd appreciate it.
Please, welcome.
Just turn the green light.
Come on up, introduce yourselves if you would. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. As you mentioned, we're from Remington and Vernick. I'm Anthony Chadwell. This is Dave Mallett.
Gentlemen, if you would be so kind as to move that closer. You
Yep.
can pick it up. You're just going to have to speak right into it so we
Gotcha.
can hear you, okay?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Perfect.
better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As I stated, we're from Remington and Vernick. My name's Anthony Chadwell. This is Dave Mallett. I'm actually the municipal engineer over at West Cape May, helping to spearhead this project forward. I'm here to give you a brief overview, a progress update, and answer any questions you may have regarding the First Avenue and West Grant Street Bridge. It is a multi-use bridge, so it will be open for bicycles and pedestrian walkers. We met with we've done conceptual and preliminary engineering to this point. We met with the HBC on January 7th, then got some aesthetic or design considerations. They wanted a little bit of a wood feature as opposed to all steel, so we updated our plans to have Ipe wood decking. That's a really hard wood from Brazil. And then we also talked about a couple of aesthetic elements. So I handed proposed bridge styles to you guys. It will have like an arch style, but it'll be essentially flat. At the HPC meeting, we talked about what color. We're probably going to have like the rusted wood, like brown wood a rusted steel look to it, as opposed to having it painted white or anything, more like the aesthetics on page 3. And then the next steps would be to get your sign off in order to go forward with CAFR permitting. And yeah,
Where does it stand in regards to the Historic Preservation Commission? Was that final approval, Paul?
So, and I forgot, so we met with, we met with the sub-review committee, and it was okay with that. So we still have to get it through HPC. I think it's scheduled to go to one of the upcoming HPC meetings in February.
Okay, great.
And are these all the same? They're just different colors? Is
essentially, yeah.
Essentially, because this one here looks a little bit different than the others. but-
Yeah,
So we're looking at more this arch
I
design,
think on the first page, the top
the top one?
Yeah.
one.
And the brown is on the third page.
Well, that is, the top is the brown.
Oh, it is?
It is,
Okay.
that is brown too.
Yeah, the one on top.
Okay, so the
Top
one on
there.
top is really the one that you're promoting.
It'll have even less of a camber than that one. So it'll have even less arch. It'll be essentially more flat than
Oh, okay.
that top one, but it'll look very similar.
Okay.
And Tony, if you could, and I appreciate the fact that you're here tonight, this is, I think it's the third time you've been
of
in
course.
the city doing some presentation, because you also came before the Bike and Pedestrian Committee. You presented the full presentation that you did before HPC, and I could say it was, I mean, people loved it. You know, the group gave its approval. Bike and Pedestrian Committee gave its full backing. But you also, could you provide information as far as the width of the bridge, as well as what's planned on either side as far as for additional protection for bikes or pedestrians that would be transversing the bridge?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Absolutely. It'll be approximately 50-foot length from one span to the other, from the abutments, and the width of the bridge will be 10 feet, and that's for AASHTO and ADA standards to allow enough passing distance for bikes to go on either side. Additional safety that we spoke about was, and privacy, was having a wooden fence leading up to the bridge from the curb line all the way to the entrance of the bridge on either side, on both sides of the path as well. We have it as 4 foot high right now, 4 foot high wooden privacy fence to keep everybody on the path and, you know, try to protect the privacy of the neighbors as well. And then additionally, we talked about putting removable bollards somewhere to the entrance of the bridge that will stop any vehicles or low-speed vehicles or anything from getting on that bridge. We definitely want to deter any, you know, golf carts or anybody from using this. So, yeah, it's for pedestrians and bicycles only.
Is it for bicycles in motion?
Uh,
Or are they going to walk it over the 50-foot span?
They should walk it over the 50-foot span. We'll have the appropriate signage. But some people,
Because I thought maybe we were going to have a bike lane.
Yeah. So you're,
Sorry, thank you.
your
I
request.
thought you were going to have a bike lane so that there would be sort of on going in one direction towards the beach. You'd have a bike lane and a walking lane, and then
They're going to
coming
walk.
back the other side.
it's only 10 feet wide, so
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So is this going to, it says pedestrian bicycle bridge, but you're really just, really, it's a pedestrian bridge.
they'll have to walk it across.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think from a promotion of it, to make sure you're pretty clear on that point, because you're only using it as a pedestrian to walk your bike across. Some people might believe because it says bike bridge that they can actually ride their bike on it. I know it seems very minor, but I think it's an important part of this. If you're expecting people only to walk on it, that they are very clear that, you know, oh, well, it says bike bridge, I can ride my bike on it. People will interpret. So just my input.
So you mentioned even though it has a shape of an arch, that it will not be arched, to be a flat surface.
So from one end to the other, there'll be a 6-inch
Oh, 6
difference
inch.
across the 50-foot span to the middle. So it's essentially flat.
Is it more like this one here? With sort of the flowers?
Kind of. We couldn't.
Where the
And the
green-
flatness is about the surface itself. The arch is sort of an aesthetic element to that bridge?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
okay, I got you. Okay, all right, thank you.
yeah.
Everybody asked my questions about, the length, the width, the arches, the bollards, and it looks great.
One thing that hasn't been said that I think most people know, but just in case you don't, we entered an agreement with West Cape May some time ago without the knowledge that we knew that they were applying for grants, and I know you worked on that grant, so we appreciate it
Yep.
because I think it basically pays for most of the entire bridge, right?
Yeah, so just for the record, West Cape May kicked this off by getting an $85,000 local recreation improvement grant to essentially fund the design and pre-application meetings with DEP and get this concept pretty much to where it's at today. During that process, we applied for other grant opportunities and actually received the Local Aid Infrastructure Fund, which is a discretionary grant from the DOT commissioners, and they supplied $700,000 for this project, which should cover all of the construction and construction management. The only caveat there is the permitting isn't covered, the permit application fees, submission, and preparation. So that's the only thing that will have to
And
be
I
figured
think
out.
our agreement reads that it's, any of those costs are split 50/50 between the city of Cape May and West Cape May.
Yeah.
So, great. Any other questions or comments, council?
I just have one,
Please.
Mr. Mayor. I don't know who's all been to the site here, but the side on Cape May, First Avenue, I see a bike rack there. Does anybody know if that's a city's bike rack?
I think it is.
Is
I
it?
think
Okay,
it is.
so there's a strange place for a bike rack, to be
Yeah.
honest with
We're
you.
at the end of the cul-de-sac, yeah, I noticed that.
Will that remain, do we think?
That's
I
your
don't
guys' call.
We'll wait for a perfect design from you guys to
Okay.
use. I mean,
Unfortunately-
this does design kind of the spillover of the bridge onto the street, basically, right? I mean,
There will be a 10-foot wide depressed curb
Right.
from wherever the bridge ends up going to the, cul-de-sac.
and for the public's knowledge too, just to know that West Cape May is designing as part of this a bicycle lanes and everything
Yeah.
to get to the bridge. It's not
Yep.
just the bridge itself. you
Yep.
know, yeah.
So the West Cape May, or Cape May County is essentially having a boardwalk or like a multi-use trail, kind of similar to this, along all of the nature preserve that's due in a couple of years, we'll say.
Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, all along Sunset Boulevard, which should connect all the way down to the point.
It was due a couple years ago.
Yeah, and so we'll say a couple of years from now. In conjunction with that, West Cape May wants to develop First Avenue as a bike path to get to here, as a safe passage from the end of that Sunset project. So there'll be essentially a continuous path that doesn't touch Broadway all the way from the point to get down to the beaches. So that project is slated to get bid and constructed this year. That's on First Avenue on the West Cape May side.
Great. Any other questions or comments, council? Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I'll take we don't have it on the agenda, but I'm happy to take comments from the public if that's okay with you, gentlemen.
I'll step back.
Jules Roush, 1010 New York Avenue. Just a question. Will it be lighted? The bridge be lighted?
So we've been talking about including, it's just for safety, some kind of solar-powered light on the removable bollards, just to illuminate the bollards down, very faint lighting, but there's not going to be any sight lighting or bright lights there. It would just be more, hey, there's a bollard here, don't run into it with your bike if it's dark out.
I think there ought to be consideration be given to some kind of a post light at either side, and that there should be a camera so we can record what kind of incidents may occur there. Thank you.
Noted. I appreciate that, Mr. Roush.
Stacy Shan, 928 Columbia Avenue. When this project came forward, it was promoted as a bike safety bridge. That was going to be for bike safety. And that's the reason why they were building the bridge, because of safety reasons on Broadway, to get bikes off of Broadway. If bikes are going to have to be walked across the bridge, why would anybody take the bridge when they could just stay on Broadway and go on the sidewalk if they wanted
I
to?
personally think, especially given that it's flat, that we should allow bicycles to cross it. That's my personal.
Well, the whole idea was,
Yeah,
how West Cape May promoted
agree.
it was a bike bridge
I agree.
and not pedestrians. And it's my understanding it wasn't going to be for pedestrians, it was just going to be for bikes.
It was always bicycle and pedestrian, and that was part of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee.
People ride their bikes across it. You're not going to be able to stop that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, it's going to be dangerous for people walking if people are going to be riding their bikes.
Well, it is 10 feet wide, right? One of the reasons it was 10 feet was specifically so that someone on a bike and walking could be on at the same time.
The
10
width-
feet's pretty wide for that.
Yeah, the width that's proposed it conforms with what's considered a multi-use path, which would generally be used by pedestrians and bicyclists.
Because, in West Cape May, there is no sidewalks. So you're going to have people walking off the bridge into the street.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this is increasing safety when it's actually making things more unsafe for anybody that's walking. And for people on bikes, they're going to have to walk it across, so why would you encourage bikes to go across that way?
Well, if I may, it's only 50 foot. So, I mean, I'm looking at this room. It's really from the back. This is about 50 feet. So it's not that, I think the images.
Well, it's longer than this. If you go over there and you see it, it's going to be longer than this.
It's 50
Not,
feet by
not,
10.
no, not but probably the aprons on either side of it would be, but the area that the actual bridge is 50 foot, am I correct?
The actual bridge is 50
Okay.
foot from
And
abutment
that's
to
about,
abutment. Yep.
I would say it's about this room?
The bridge isn't going to span from curb line to curb line. It'll be curb line, a path, an asphalt path, a concrete path, bridge abutment, 50 feet, bridge abutment, and then a path to the other side. So the bridge itself is only going to be 50 feet.
Okay, but it's going to, between the two roads, it's more than 50 feet, correct?
Yep.
Right, okay. The whole concept of taking somebody across is more than 50 feet. The bridge might be 50 feet, but there's still the path leading up to it that are still only 10 feet wide going into the bridge, correct? I guess I was a little disappointed with the council that they did not put this on the agenda for people that live in that area that probably would have liked to have come and expressed their opinions, because this has gone into people's backyards. And I'm sure these people, that if you go over there, there are signs everywhere. And by the fact that you put this on at the last minute, you're not allowing these people to come in here and express their opinions. And to me, that's not being done the proper way. Is there a reason why you didn't, put this on the agenda ahead of time?
I can tell you that city council didn't know that this was on until today ourselves,
And
but.
Right.
I started my thing by saying, I apologize.
Well,
I
that
forgot
does-
to put it on there. So that's why I forgot to put it on there. So it's
Well,
not-
I mean, that's really
not neglectful.
nice of you to apologize,
Right.
but I think the people that live in that area
I don't-
aren't going to take an apology. Maybe if you could put this on the agenda for next week also, or the next meeting,
There-
so that people can
This is
come to
far
it.
from the last meeting on this bridge, number one. We heard about it today, put it online, on live stream, had it here today. I didn't want to say, no, don't have it on. I'd rather have one other meeting about this. Consider this a bonus, but we will have another one on the agenda 100%.
Before you vote on this today? Are you voting on anything today?
We're not voting on anything.
Okay, because they're saying they can't go for CAF until it's voted on by the
That's correct.
council.
We're going to follow up at the next meeting with a resolution. for
Correct.
Council to consideration to
And it needs-
authorize this.
It needs
this
HPC
mission.
approval. I mean, HPC must approve this at the next HPC, which has to be advertised and have a public meeting, as you very much know. And this will come again to the city for a resolution for a vote.
Now, my question is, it has to go before HPC. Do those neighbors there have to be notified? Or are they being notified?
No,
No? Okay.
not for HPC.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
But now they'll have two public meetings to go to if they want to.
And there's no zoning or planning board that has to be approved with this, correct?
And just for the record, I know that the city manager has met with multiple neighbors in that neighborhood personally several times.
Yeah.
But certainly, it's coming back to this table. This was considered an update, and again, we'll go before HPC and a final vote from city council.
So you're planning on a final vote on this next council meeting?
We have to have it on a resolution, right? Correct, yes.
Okay, why I'm asking, because maybe we can notify the public about it. Coming from a taxpayers association, we would like to notify the public that this will be coming on
100%.
the agenda.
That's why we wanted, when we knew they had the opportunity at the last minute to have this, we said we'd rather have another meeting about it than not, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Might I suggest that some of the comments that we made to you, just to consider before you come back again, just clarification around some of the things like the lighting, the width, is it bikes and
Well,
pedestrians?
the width can't change because
No,
that's a DEP
I don't mean
requirement.
that. I
I'm just
mean-
letting, that's,
The fact that sometimes in the scenario in which you're allowing both pedestrians and bikes, do you want to have one flow for one versus another, rather than having someone on a bike trying to weave in and out of people walking across a bridge? Just, you're the engineers. I think you understand.
your concern. We'll be discussing that.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else, council?
Hello, Roz Johnson, 826 Lafayette Street. I totally agree with what Stacy said. The reason why you posted agenda on Friday is to give residents the opportunity to make plans to come to a meeting. I realize it's wonderful that this is going to be talked about in the future, but sometimes when things are introduced, or I have heard comment, well, we've talked about this at X amount of meetings. I don't think this should be considered the first meeting that you're talking about this to the public, because the public hasn't been
Several.
informed.
I think, Roz, you have to recall that this has probably been talked about at least 2 meetings with a number of people from the public here expressing their concerns, which is why there was sort of some modifications to the design and why these gentlemen were here tonight. This has been, I think, under consideration and review and discussion probably since last summer. And I know that Mr. Steve has met and has presentations at the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. So I'm going to say, quite frankly, I thought this was kind of all, had already been considered and moved along. I didn't know that we were still at this point. So I can assure you, this has been at least at 2 meetings, and then at the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee for at least 2, HPC, and private discussions with the city manager and Mr. Bodnar and representatives from the Bicycle and Planning.
It's
So
also-
I appreciate your comment. I'm sorry. Mr.
it's also been on the website for since the summer.
It's a lot different than having, it means so much when people can get up and express their opinion. It really
And this
does.
is, and it's not
I
the
mean,
first
there's
time.
something about,
Do you have a concern, Roz? Do you have a concern about the bridge?
say that again.
Do you have a concern about it?
I don't have a concern about it. My concern is about communication. I'm all about communication and having things available for residents to come and physically speak.
But they have done that before. You do recognize that, correct? This is not the first time this has been discussed in a public forum.
Right.
Okay.
But it is, this is a pretty important meeting to see these plans. And so that's,
Right, and it will be presented again.
okay.
Okay, and these plans will be put up on the city website.
And have been. up
Thank
on
you.
the website.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close public comment, which was not required, by the way, and move on to ordinances for introduction. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, before we go into each of these, they're both related, so it might help if I can give council just sort of a preamble explanation for both of these, and then you might want to consider moving on to a vote on each, because it's first reading and introduction. 589 is a simple amendment to the ordinance to confirm the appointing authority for the Shade Tree Commission. Right now, it says city council. Actually, the statute points to the mayor making these appointments, just like the HPC. So that's just an update to conform to the statute. I don't have any concern about our current board makeup because the mayor happens to be a member of council, so he voted for these before anyway. But going forward, this will update the appointment authority to be consistent with the state statute. That's all 589 is doing.
Mr. Solicitor, we were already following that protocol anyway, when it came to the agenda for like the first of the year? Okay, so.
Yes.
We're just connecting the two, making them match.
Right, this is, in other words, 589 is just a housekeeping matter for the city code. 590, there are some substantive changes being made to the city's shade tree or tree protection and removal procedures, and there's a couple major points just to go through and pull out from that, so council and the public understands what's being proposed here. So the first thing is, the Shade Tree Commission, and by the way, these recommendations come to council from the Shade Tree Commission. This was an ordinance draft that was reviewed and drafted with feedback from the Shade Tree Commission subcommittee and ultimately reviewed by the Shade Tree Commission members themselves. So this draft comes to the council with the endorsement of Shade Tree Commission. And that happened before the end of 2025 in November. So the first thing is they're looking to establish a landmark tree designation process to call out trees in town that may have a specific relevance or importance, whether it's ecological, historical, or other factors that can be taken into consideration for really calling out this is a really important tree that we should think twice about before removing, essentially. And there's criteria and a process for the Shade Tree Commission to establish it. It's not just walking around and staring at it and think, wow, that's really nice, that's a landmark tree. There's a process involved, and the Shade Tree Commission has the responsibility to kind of do that inventory if they choose to do that and make those designations. And particularly if there's private property tree involved, and because the tree ordinance does regulate trees on private property, it's not just public right-of-way trees, that there's notice to the person, the property owner, about a landmark tree before that designation is made, and they have the opportunity to participate in that process before any designation is made. The next step is going in and creating a little bit more of a familiar criteria and analysis for Shade Tree Commission members and the public to understand the process by which Shade Tree Commission members are going to evaluate tree removal applications. And the Shade Tree Commission already does this to a certain degree, but it may not be so obvious to an applicant that just bought a house here and realizes, wow, I have to pull a permit to remove a tree. I didn't have to do that in so-and-so town in New York or wherever else. Well, that is the case here, and I think it's helpful for the city to explain that process, to set expectations for board members. What is it that we're doing up here at this table? And also for applicants so that they understand, hey, when I have to submit this application, what am I in for? And what this does is it calls out a range of criteria, not unfamiliar to zoning board and planning board members. It's not to that degree, it's specific to trees, but for instance, determining whether a tree should be removed in the first place. You look at whether the tree is dead, diseased, structurally unsound, whether it causes unavoidable conflicts with utilities, sidewalks, which is a common thing in the city, the sidewalks coming up because of the tree roots, or my sewer pipe, or this or that. Trees, age, size, species, including whether it's invasive, non-native, or whether it's has limited habitat value, or if maybe it's a mature native species of high value, given its location and setting. The location of the tree, whether it's highly visible on a public right-of-way, we like street trees, that's why the city looks the way it does, and contributes to the character of the neighborhood, or is minimally visible and hidden public view. Maybe it's in a rear yard, nobody notices whether it'll be gone. And whether the tree is designated as a landmark tree or not, whether pruning, treatment, or other management techniques could preserve the tree in place versus removal, and the nature and extent and quality of proposed replacement or mitigation with robust planting or mitigation plans weighing in favor of removal, but not dispositive. So none of these are like silver bullet, you get the tree removed or you don't get the tree removed, but it gives a framework for the Shade Tree Commission to take all that, and the applicants can, go through each one of those and present to the board, and then you end up with this, do the positives of outweigh the negatives of taking the tree out. And it allows an applicant really to say, hey, look, I know this is maybe a bigger tree, but look at what I'd like to make a robust planting proposal to the Shade Tree Commission of native species that might be more suitable to the site and the city. Allows applicants to get creative and make those types of presentations to the Shade Tree Commission. And that moves on to, and again, the applicant bears the burden, just like they would with the zoning and planning board, and it allows the Shade Tree Commission to balance all those criteria and whether the positives outweigh the negatives. And if the positives do outweigh the negatives and the tree can be removed, then you go to this removal, replacement, and mitigation criteria. And there's a chart in here that didn't exist before, but I'll tell you where this chart came from. It didn't come from my head. It came from the model NJDP tree ordinance. So this is a framework that they use. They do a DBH, a diameter at breast height, replacement obligation framework. So the bigger the tree, the bigger the replacement obligation. But there may be cases where maybe you don't want to overplant a site. Maybe you have a bunch of trees, the bigger tree gets removed, and maybe your replacement obligation is 4 trees, but the Shade Tree Commission looks at the site and say, you know what, we don't just want to plant trees to plant trees, we want to make sure we're making smart planting decisions too. Maybe you plant 2, and then and for the 2 that you would otherwise have to plant, you can pay a mitigation fee. And there's a mitigation fee built in here in lieu of replanting, and that would go into the newly created tree bank, which would be a separate fund dedicated for Shade Tree Commission purposes, advancing the purposes of street trees and replanting and making sure we have, a healthy canopy throughout the city of Cape May. So it establishes a mitigation fee in lieu of replacement to, again, open the toolbox and allow the Shade Tree Commission and applicants to come up with creative, good planning solutions. And some of that may involve, hey, you know what, maybe don't overplant the site, but maybe we do a mitigation fee, and it provides that discretion to the Shade Tree Commission. And then those fees would then go into that dedicated fund for that purpose. So this, ultimately, in sum, this establishes a process for recognizing some trees may be really valuable and important, and recognizing this is a tree city. Second, it provides a much clearer, I think, and stronger framework for Shade Tree Commission members to evaluate these applications. I think it sets expectations for applicants so that they're not just walking in and wondering what is going to happen. Here's the way that they evaluate it, and particularly for maybe new members coming into the Shade Tree Commission, what are we doing here? Well, you could turn to this and say, okay, this is my North Star of how I am to review applications when they come through the door. And then making a replacement table an obligation that more closely conforms to the state model and what other towns have adopted on that basis, and then establishing this tree bank to provide, again, another kind of toolbox to evaluate and decide these applications. I think these are good changes because really we do, the way the ordinance is drafted now, we do hold, and I've said this example before, the Shade Tree Commission is one of those Venn diagram circles that you have to overlap. You have to get your construction office approval, your zoning approval, your HPC, Shade Tree Commission. Just because one of those boards may pass on, hey, this development looks good, doesn't necessarily mean you get to take down the 200-year-old magnolia tree. So again, some people get whiplash when they experience that for the first time, but this is more directed towards making that clearer and setting expectations for board members and for applicants. It also confirms that if applicants do go to the zoning and planning board as opposed to the HPC, this doesn't apply to the HPC, but zoning and planning board, given the rigmarole that applicants have to go through to go and apply and pay escrow fees and get a professional and show up to the hearing and provide notice, there should be a little bit of one-stop shopping for that process. And so they have the discretion to make tree removal and planning decisions, provided that the Shade Tree Commission is able to give feedback to the board in connection with them making the overall decision. My understanding is that already happens now. That feedback is already given to the board. But what it does is it kind of clears up this, the applicant goes to the board, they said, hey, we're going to take out this tree to do this project, I got the approval, now what, I have to go to another board. It clears all that up. So this is another, let's let's clean it up for applicants as much as for the city. And again, I think it cleans up a lot of things and provides a clear clear pathway to navigating these applications. Probably, again, like I say, in most cases, it's not perfect, but it's definitely an improvement to what we have today, and I think it's going to help the Shade Tree Commission execute their duties. So with that, I would take any questions, but this is just first reading, but I wanted to give everybody an explanation of what these are doing.
Thank you. Do we have a motion, right?
Not yet.
Okay,
I jumped ahead, so I don't think so.
We're just talking about both ordinances.
okay. So let's introduce ordinance 589.
Sure. 589, 2026 is an ordinance confirming the appointing authority for the Shade Tree Commission.
Do I have a motion?
Yep, I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
And 590-2026, an ordinance amending Section 482 of the City Code to update the policies and procedure for the protection of trees in the city of Cape May.
Do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
I
Oh, go ahead.
I do,
Pardon me. Yep, yep.
if I may, because I think landmark trees are something new in this.
There was that section was a specimen tree before, so it's very similar, but it's slightly different, but the concept was always in the ordinance as a specimen tree. I think how we're handling it is, I think, a little bit more proactive in making sure that, hey, a tree in your backyard just couldn't appear on some secret magic list that the shade tree created without you being informed of it. I think
Just because it's big, and it might be a non-native species, you know, and that was sort of the logic of, I know you're looking like, oh my God, anybody that looks at this is like, what are you guys doing? But the way that it is written now, if you don't change it, you have significant specimen tree, anything that's over, larger than 16 inches and has a trunk diameter exceeding 60% of that largest,
It's
whatever.
automatic.
It could include some tree that we probably don't want, maybe, you know, like just because it's big. So this,
native, yeah.
this is not, it's not, I think the dragnet is actually less with this new language, because really what it does is it says, we start off with anything that is above a certain dBH is technically a tree and regulated. But if we want to ratchet up the regulation, it really requires the Shade Tree Commission to do some analysis and to say, you know what, this is a really important tree because somebody, you know, some person read a book under here, you know, during the Revolutionary War or something. You know, like, it requires some work rather than it's just a big tree, you know.
So is that something then the Shade Tree Commission is going to be developing a list of these landmark trees, identifying them, and am I correct?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
Okay.
You know, most of them are probably going to be city trees anyway. But say if you had a big, beautiful, you know, Japanese pine or something that's very unique, well, not Japanese pine, but something that I can't describe. And if you felt, you know, a special way about it because you planted that tree 40 years ago and you like it and it's unique, you can apply to make sure that your tree is protected in perpetuity, you know?
But I think a lot of it, what this is probably most geared towards, as Mr. Meyer pointed to, is the street trees. So, and that's going to run into conflict where inevitably there's, you know, a sidewalk coming up or it's near somebody's driveway, and then that's still going to be a balancing act. It's not, again, the criteria is just because it's a landmark tree doesn't mean it doesn't come down. There could be reasons why it does come down. Maybe it got struck by lightning or something, you know, but it just becomes another piece of the balancing act that you would consider. And if it's not designated, then it's not considered. But it does require some pro-action by Shade Tree Commission versus the current code, which is just like, is this a big tree or not? And that, I think, they're getting a little bit more nuanced on that, and it probably is good to have a little nuance on that type of thing and not just judge it by how big it is.
And that could also extend into memorial trees, trees that may have a plaque, a tree that those plaques go missing over the years. It kind of marries those two together, that we have a record that that tree is a dedicated tree to somebody. And that way we always know that you know, we can't you shouldn't have cut that tree down. It's Mrs. Smith's tree for all these reasons, you know.
It's a good idea.
Just ask, as far as with this proposed ordinance and, as far as how it interacts with zoning and planning that you touched on, and you mentioned as far as one-stop shopping. So, it's my understanding now, application goes before the zoning board, just like when the zoning application, there has to be feedback from the fire department, fire inspection, and Shade Tree Commission is one of the documents that the zoning board would look for as part of a completed packet for consideration. So, and the Shade Tree provides a lot of feedback regarding the trees that are on property, as well as how they should be taken care of, and suggestions in regard to that. So I'm just trying to understand for myself, and also for the public that may be going before the zoning board or planning as well. My further understanding is when the zoning application is presented, if there's going to be an issue, and they're going to be, so if I understand this correctly, if there's a discussion about whether a tree would need to be removed or not, the Shade Tree Commission would be providing some input regarding that. But correct me if I'm wrong, ultimately, the decision as far as whether it should stay or be removed would be part of that, would it be part of that zoning application to be determined ultimately by the zoning board, in that, and I know in many other instances, the Shade Tree Commission it's a binding decision, but it may be advisory as in the way that it would go before the zoning board, because they're looking at a whole variety of factors in determining the scope of a project, variances, things of that nature, whereby the trees may be one aspect of it, and recognizing that I believe applicants may be required to provide a landscape plan in conjunction with that application as well. So, I mean, am I stating things correctly here, or if you could clarify anything that I'm saying and for the public?
Yes, that's exactly it. And the idea is that they are, by their nature, dealing with overall planning concepts for, is this a good makeup of the total site, and dealing with things like landscaping and vegetation, so that it is within the purview of their review authority. And also to avoid ping-ponging people after going through that specific process, which is involved. It's more involved than going even to the HPC, because they have to provide 200-foot noticing, and it's a little bit more of an elevated process. So HPC decisions are not trumping anything that the Shade Tree Commission does. And there's a little bit more quicker turnaround time with an HPC review than there is for those types of boards too, and that's another reason. But when you get to the zoning and planning board level, it's important that the Shade Tree Commission is given the opportunity to provide feedback on a removal proposal. So that is built into this, and the language that's in here is not really changing the way it exists today. It's just, it's intending to explain it a little bit more clearly, that if you're going to the zoning or planning board for a development project, and a component of that is tree removal, that the applicant be given the certainty of finality of, I don't have to go to another board for the removal application. Now, that's assuming that what they're proposing to do in relation with removal is proposed in that application, and the Shade Tree Commission has the opportunity to provide feedback. It's not like, oh, I went there and didn't talk about it, and now I got the approval. You have to the applicant has the burden to make a proactive application and explanation, and the Shade Tree Commission can say, hey, I don't like the removal, but hey, we need this for parking, and then really the board's going to have to do a balancing act, as they do on most things. But it is providing an avenue for finality for applicants if they choose to utilize it. But if they don't make that presentation, that's on them. I will say that on the record tonight.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
To go along, I'm sorry.
No,
To go along with that, say this, I'm sorry, thank you. If the zoning board does approve the removal of the tree because it's too close to the house, or it's going to be where the driveway is going to be, et cetera, is the applicant then required to replant or pay the fees?
And there is replacement criteria in the design standards. That's where the 2-for-1 and those types of standards come in. The table that's in here for tree removal is not changing that. That's the zoning and landscaping requirements. But there is a removal criteria and replacement criteria already in the zoning code. It's similar, but not exactly this. But that's part of the discussion that can happen with the Shade Tree Commission providing feedback to those boards and saying, hey, this is a really valuable thing. We think it should be X. Maybe it doesn't come down at all. Our recommendation would be it doesn't come down at all, or maybe it's okay if they replant 3 native things. That's the type of feedback that then the board can say to the applicant, what do you say, applicant? Are you going to do that or not? And then the board has to decide what the final say is. But it's really, again, to avoid ping-ponging people after going through an already pretty involved process in the city. It's to provide efficiency, but it's really up to the applicants to take advantage of that. But the opportunity is provided here.
So I think this question is actually, I'm not sure, maybe for Councilman Meyer or you, Mr. Yellen Schwartz, or Mr. Dietrich. So you mentioned several times the other boards, so zoning, planning, HPC. All of the members of those boards go through training, specific training courses online that are offered through the state. HPC has, I think, an in-house kind of program that the chair takes everyone through. What does the Shade Tree Commission do formally with regard to training for members? And you don't have to answer if there's nothing, but I do think it's very important that there be a formal program that is required.
It's a 100-year-old program.
100.
It's a tree federation.
Okay, and everyone
And
goes through that?
You have to be
Yeah.
required to do core work and
Okay.
then get certified. And then after that, you can go to the regular conference,
And you have,
see the other speakers.
Okay.
and you have to do CEUs, so that.
Okay, all
The
right.
Shade Tree is actually one of the few that have to continue, get continuing education credits to maintain that
Okay,
certification.
that's great.
So
Okay, didn't know that, that's why I asked.
that's one reason why we have some current turnover on some of our Shade Tree Commission currently was we had some members that didn't go through the
Oh,
core
okay.
training, and we kind of
Well, that's good.
had to politely say,
Yeah.
hey, if you don't do the training, you could still be on the commission, but you're not going to be able to go out and do tree inspections because you need that in
Well, that's
training.
good information to have. I was not aware of that.
What-
Thank
one
you.
of,
It's interesting, it's 100 years old
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
I'll just add to the criteria because the part of this, what drove the criteria in here, and I want to spend an hour talking about this if we don't have to, but just to comment on, I watched, because we were having this continuous discussion, I was watching the Shade Tree Commission, review applications. And if you watched maybe one application, you would think, wow, that went really quick. But if you watched the whole meeting, or if you watched 3 meetings, you would get, there was common threads, and common threads of reviewing the applications came through in this criteria, which is, oh, that's a non-native species, or that's an invasive species, or that's, that's baked into this criteria. And it was really an effort to flush that out and put it out on paper so that applicants could see what I was seeing when I was watching these meetings, which is that it wasn't arbitrary and capricious. There was some common threads that they were reviewing this, and it made sense for a city that seemed to be taking it more seriously than maybe other towns where you can just clear a site whenever you want. Well, that's not the way it's done here, and let's build on that and be clear about it so people are clear-eyed when they come in and make a presentation. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Any other questions or comments, council? I just wanted to thank Councilman Meyer and the whole Shade Tree Commission as well as our solicitor for working together on this ordinance. I
Thank you.
greatly appreciate that. With that, we
I just have a comment.
Oh, yeah,
Mayor.
please, go ahead.
This is on behalf of the Shade Tree Commission as a liaison to it. Recently, we have noticed more trees being cut down illegally in Cape May. We don't know if that's because we just happen to notice it, or spies are out there, neighbors, noticing what's going on to the neighbor's property. But it's on a little bit of an uptick. And Shade Tree Commission feels very strongly that it goes through the code enforcement process. If somebody cuts down a tree and says, I didn't know that, I didn't know so many rules associated with it, and the tree might be worth $8,000. After the deed is done, we don't feel like there should be an opportunity for them to determine how much they think it's worth to pay into the tree bank. Currently, well, recently, a street tree was cut down in Cape May, and I think either this month or even this week, there's a court case about that person. Shade Tree Commission feels very strongly if you're cutting down a street tree, the vandalism to us is equal to spray painting the walls of a bathroom, a city bathroom. It's vandalism. And just because Shade Tree Commission does not approve your application, there is an appeal process that we've decided to keep the same, which is that they go to the city manager, and in the ordinance that gives the opportunity for one of the commissioners to also be present to discuss what we can do to make both parties happy. So there is an appeal process, so don't feel like that we're coming down heavy on everybody. Just please follow the rules.
I have a quick question in reference to what you just said. I know the tree that you're talking about that was taken down. I don't know if it was actually somebody who comes and works within the city often. I mean, most of the tree companies that come into the city know our ordinance, know what they can and cannot do. Notifying these other tree companies that are coming in, or,
There is, as part of the application process, we kind of copied a little bit after West Cape May because they're pretty much ahead of the game, to be honest with you. The application has to have the contractor's contracting license on there.
Correct.
And if they
but
mess up
but that's if
3
you're taking a
times-
tree down.
That's right. Okay.
I think what
I'm
Lorraine's talking about.
speaking of, yeah.
Reaching out to a broader net of contractors
Yeah.
who do tree work, aside from the ones that are already known, because they may be coming onto the island and taking jobs, not knowing our ordinance.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
that's what I'm more alluding to, yeah.
A little hard, but.
It is, but once you know who it was that came in and removed, then the one that's going, to litigation. Yeah.
right. We have to be diligent about that. Absolutely.
So, just a thought.
Anything else, council? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
And we have public portions on resolutions, Mayor.
Anyone wishing to speak on resolutions that are on the agenda this evening, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll close public comment on resolutions.
Anything to remove from the consent agenda this evening, council?
Anything, council?
Are the things that we added to the agenda, are they part of the consent agenda?
They're separate. You can vote on those separately. So this is just the consent.
Thank you.
Just the consent. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
All right, so we have on the regular agenda, Resolution 8701, 2026, a resolution establishing a task force for the creation of uniform standards for city signage.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council?
I have a
Go ahead.
comment. I think this is a great idea, whoever came up with this. I think on the way to the council meeting, I was thinking about the discussion we had about the black poles, and I think this definitely dovetails into that. I also noticed that you don't have a second person from city council on that group. If anybody didn't want to be on that, I'd love to be on that as well.
Appreciate your volunteerism. Anyone have an issue with the, I don't want to phrase it, an issue with that. Is everyone okay with that?
Stronger about it.
Yeah. Does anyone else feel stronger about that? Okay, I'd love to see you on there, Mr. Meyer.
May I make a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I'd like to make a motion to amend the resolution to add Mr. Meyer's name as a liaison. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on that, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes. Do I have a motion on the amended resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments on the amended resolution? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
And we have 8801, 2026, a resolution of the City of Cape May approving an agreement with the Borough of West Cape May for law enforcement and dispatching services.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? I just want to thank West Cape May, and it was a bit of a process, and I want to thank everyone who was involved on both West Cape May side and Cape May side. And by process, I mean a good one. We really delved into a lot of the numbers, and it took a lot of work from city staff and several council members that I just really appreciate their hard work and effort on this new agreement. And our solicitor, again, thank you. And West Cape May solicitor Frank Corrado, we thank them as well. And I want to thank our police as well. There is no better police department than the Cape May Police Department. So I know West Cape May recognizes that and does so in this contract. So we thank them very much. And again, Chief, we appreciate your department. Any other questions or comments? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes, and I also meant to say, just to thank you to West Cape May for housing the Cape May Police Department. We have agreed to an additional 2 years of the housing Cape May Police Department at West Cape May during the construction of the new police department. So again, we want to thank them for being such great neighbors to the city. So thank you, West Cape May. Next resolution?
Moving on to 8901, 2026, a resolution approving a memorandum of agreement between the City of Cape May and the Police Benevolent Association Local 59.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? I think we just complimented the police, but they certainly deserve this, and we thank them for all of their hard work and serving and protecting the city of Cape May. So thank you. Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes, and well said, Mayor.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
And finally, we have 9001, 2026, a resolution of the City of Cape May requesting the governor to issue a state disaster declaration for New Jersey's beaches in response to storm damage.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? This was basically introduced by the city manager in regards to our trip down to DC. And for the public's edification, just to reiterate, this basically is asking for a state of emergency to be declared in regards to the beaches. The reason, we're asking the governor to do that. The reason for that is, well, frankly, we had a conversation with the Army Corps of Engineers. We're talking about, and I will say, there are other towns that have probably a little bit more of an emergency than the city of Cape May. I know Strathmere had, I think, 15 out of 25 beaches closed as of now, and right now do not have replenishment ready. So they truly have a major emergency. And the Army Corps is saying, well, you're telling us it's an emergency, but the state hasn't declared an emergency. We need you to do that. So we're asking the governor to do that so that those funds can be freed up. With that, any other questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullick.
Yes.
On to new business, Mayor.
New business, city solicitor,
Nothing tonight, thank you.
city manager?
I just wanted to bring up, I'm sure everybody's aware, but if you aren't aware, this weekend they're calling for some additional frigid weather, but also some white precipitation, and it may be some accumulating precipitation. So I would just, remind everybody, obviously our emergency management and public works teams are monitoring the situation along with the county and state officials. We'll be having some meetings Thursday and Friday just to kind of make sure that we're geared up and ready. But I just would remind all residents to be careful during the storm. And once the storm is over, last year when we had some significant storm, we had some residents and business owners that did not do a really effective job at removing the snow in a timely fashion to allow our pedestrians and residents to get around, and we are going to be taking a little more forceful hand. The ordinance does allow that if it's not removed, not only can you be cited, but also the city can remove the snow and then charge you back. So I just want to try to encourage residents to clear the snow around their sidewalk, especially if it's in an area, whether it's along a school route, if you're close to the business district or along that way, to get those sidewalks cleared so our pedestrians and visitors can move about. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk, any updates?
Nothing tonight, Council. Thank you.
Okay, City Council members, Councilwoman Baldwin,
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Councilman Bodnar,
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Deputy Mayor,
Time.
Councilman Meyer?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
The Shade Tree Commission are in the process of cutting down a number of, tree of heaven. It's the invasive species that the lanternflies like to land on. We're going to be removing one on the verge of Elmira Street, on the side of the jewelry store there. I don't know if anybody really noticed, but that's one of the busiest intersections in town, and that side of the street does not have a sidewalk. So I'd like to get your support as city council members, just to look at it, see if it's feasible to put a sidewalk in on that side. So people are not walking once they realize that the sidewalk ends, or they're not walking in the street.
So, Councilman Meyer, that was timely fashion because we were going to be probably putting forth the resolution. So I think that was going to be, every year we make an application to the Department of Community Affairs for our small cities ADA grant projects. And I think in coordination, I've already talked to Vince's office at EDA about including that, as well as some another public bathroom project. So I think we'll be able to include that as part of our ADA grant request for this year.
That's great.
And you know what that means, right, Mayor?
No.
That means all of Elmira Street
All the way.
is paved.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else, Mr. Meyer?
No, thank you.
I have just one thing to add, and that is actually a thank you to our city manager for driving to Washington, D.C. at 4 o'clock in the morning with me, and all the way back at like close to 8 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so a thank you. And it does remind you, as bad as traffic can be in the city of Cape May in July, it is nothing like a normal day in Washington. We're very blessed where we're at. And I do want to say one more thing and open it up to the public. In regards to the bridge tonight, I agree. I wish that it was on the agenda. And everyone up here, I'm sure, feels exactly the same way. We were given the opportunity to have that, and we all had to consider, should we have it? We understand people are probably going to be upset that it wasn't on the agenda, but we all felt that it would be better to have than not have. Having said that, I do feel bad about that. And I've already said that the other times that we've had it on the agenda, frankly, I've posted about it on social media. Obviously, we want people to know about it, but I am going to ask the city manager to frankly just have the exact same meeting that we just had, put it on the agenda in the next coming weeks, whatever fits the schedule of Remington Vernick, if that's okay. Is council okay with that? Yeah. So that way that it is on the agenda, it's advertised, and anyone who's interested in coming is there. Maybe they'll give us a couple updates based on some of the comments and questions that we had this evening. Is that okay, City Manager? Okay, I appreciate that. With that, we'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Roz Johnson, 826 Lafayette Street. Thank you very much for saying those words. For me personally, it means a lot, so thank you.
Thank you, Roz.
Paul, I'd like to have an update on the Quality of Life Committee.
So we had one in December, just to kind of wrap some things up and kind of refocus some of our code enforcement. And the things that we were really trying to focus them on is some of the ordinances that council adopted over this past year and a year and a half, specifically construction activities with sawing of materials, the collection of that debris, the covering of dumpsters both on the site and in transit, In that one specifically, Chief Fashaw had implemented a couple times during the month. He had his patrol division in the evenings drive around to the dumpsters that did not have coverings in the evening, so after everybody was done work, and then sent that list to code enforcement, so code enforcement had a real good list, because a lot of times when code enforcement would go out in the morning, they're already there, they took the canopy off, so we were missing that. So Chief Ashall took that and kind of jumped on that. So those are kind of, we were trying to focus on some of those items that were adopted newly by council ordinances to try to make sure that all the offices were enforcing and following through those ordinances.
Thank you.
Yep.
So with this committee, do you have goals for 2026, or do you just address things as they come?
We look at, we don't have specific goals, no. We look at those issues that we see over the past couple council meetings that may have been issues, whether it's emails that have come into various departments, or also see challenges or struggles that individual departments are having, and where they just need assistance with other departments to make sure that they're able to complete their work
Okay, good to
effectively.
know.
Kind of like that code enforcement thing, where code enforcement was having trouble doing one thing, and they got another part of the city departments to help them out.
Right.
Mr. Dietrich, can I ask a question about
One other thing. I read something about, when you went to Washington, there was something about a drone corridor, something.
I'm not sure about that one, Roz, I'm
No?
sorry. No.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you know what what in reference it was at all?
I believe I got it I thought I got it from the press, from the Atlanta Press, no?
I'm drawing a blank.
Well, they
Sorry.
had mentioned that, they had mentioned how Van Drew was able to acquire $500,000 for the desal plant.
Right, that's
And
true,
then,
yep.
right, and then they talked about the seawall.
Right.
And then they mentioned this drone corridor project.
That may not be in Cape May, I don't know if
Okay.
that was,
No.
I know he was working with, just, with the
Okay.
FC, what's the, Florida, the, the flight, at the Atlantic City Airport, FAA, thank you, FAA at the airport. And I do think drones were part of that, but I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't part of our discussion. Was
wasn't a part of
purely
our
based on
Yeah.
beach and shore protection.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the article might have added some other things,
Right. Yeah.
but we were really focused on that singular
It's a
topic.
drone testing corridor as part of a larger 6.5 million regional package. Federal funds were secured for advanced aviation and drone testing corridors in South Jersey, which Mayor Mullick and other regional leaders agreed to.
That's interesting. I don't know.
All right, well, we'll scratch that one.
That may have been, maybe intertwined a little bit in that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I do know that, they really have been trying to lead, especially actually at the Cape May Airport. Maybe that's the confusion, because we all know that's not actually in
Okay.
Cape May, but.
All right, I
the
hope you
Cape
don't
May-
mind me asking.
Yeah, no problem. But I know they've been trying to lead in drone technology. They have a drone group
Okay.
there and everything, but yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Can I ask real quick, Paul? Mr.
Paul-
Dietrich?
Paul,
Just that quality of life committee, are public members part of that?
No, this is really just an internal thing that I have with my departments to focus on that and make sure that
Okay.
we're keeping that as a focal point in our daily work.
Okay, thank you.
Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue. I would encourage the Shade Tree Commission to look at making a list of suggested trees. And be a little more proactive in what you'd like to see someone do tree-wise. And I would make a strong suggestion that we try to encourage the planting of crepe myrtles. not only because they're a beautiful tree, but they kind of go in line with the Victoriana of the city. The other issue with trees, I don't know whether you've noticed recently, we're seeing more and more use of the Leland cypress as a fence. Normally, fences in the city are limited to a height of 6 feet. Well, I have a new house next to me, a house that's been redone, where they planted a series of Leland cypress 3.5 feet on center, 2 feet off the property line. They're now about 20 feet high, going on 30 feet high. Leland cypress, particularly in this area where we have a high moisture content, 100 feet's not unusual, and we have a number of areas where it's just one solid block of trees. And I would encourage the Shade Tree Commission to look at the possibility of trying to prohibit the trees being used as a barrier or a fence, because it does limit air circulation, sun, the rest of it. Paul, in the past, there was always a discussion about putting a jetty or requesting a jetty at the Coast Guard base beach, because that's really the more vulnerable area for a loss of sand. Has that ever come back up again?
No, but as part of, we had the beach study last year, and we'll be working on getting our consultant back on board to outreach both the Army Corps and the Bureau of Coastal Engineering on, what they're going to look at and what they think to model the best way to, prevent that littoral deposits and removal, and we have to work with, we're going to start that conversation. So
Well,
I don't think we're going to pigeonhole ourselves into one specific idea. I think we have to let the beach consultants work with the Army Corps and figure out, okay, what's the goal, what's the outcome that they were looking for, and work with them to come up with what possible scenarios, and then try to figure out.
This might be an opportune time, because it's apparent that the nation is going to be promoting the advance or enlargement of the Coast Guard. And of a jetty there would be certainly a security item for them as well as our beach. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rouse, just to add to that, I mean, we did talk about structure, with the Army Corps, with the House representatives and Senate representatives, because, all of us understand that you pump the sand on the beach and then it washes away. All of us understand that that's an issue and agree with that. So we did say, look, not only do we need to have the beach replenishment, but there needs to be a very strong look at structure. And I agree with you. That's one place, but structure needs to be a part of the final solution on these projects.
And this might also be an opportune time to try and get an advancement, extension of our contract with the federal government, because we're so unique. There's not very many communities have had that opportunity, and I'd love to see us get another 50 years.
Good point.
Thank you.
Mr. Roush,
Yeah.
the Shade Tree Secretary has a real, I'll call it cute pamphlet of recommended street trees. I'll say cute because I designed it. It comes with a legend that tells you, like, if it has a little turtle next to it, it means it grows slow. If it's got I think it's a wolf or something, it grows fast. It tells you whether it flowers and when it flowers.
Oh, great.
And I've been talking to professors, a former landscaper up here, and I'm trying to update that list this spring.
Yeah, I
So
think
it might be bigger than ever.
it'd be great to be proactive as opposed to, being the policeman of the trees.
I'll just add to that too, Mr. Meyer. I know the Environmental Commission, which obviously is part of the zoning application planning application process, I should say. And they have a list of native trees that they include as recommendations always.
Well, I didn't want to go on about the Leland cypress, but when you take a Leland cypress that's 80, 90 feet high, the extent of their root system is unbelievable. And I've got them now 8 or 9 feet from my foundation. And even though the law may provide me with the opportunity of doing root preening, it would not be the greatest thing in the world for the tree. So I think if we be a little more aggressive in how we approach the requirement of limiting using trees as a fence, we might accomplish a couple of other things too. So thank you.
We might have to look at the ordinance that we created to screen pools and things like that, to put a limitation on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy Shan, 928 Columbia Avenue. My first concern is a safety concern. The two lights out behind the police station here, one behind the church and one directly behind the police station, are out. And this is a walkway. A lot of people walk between the Acme and Victorian Towers. I know for a fact that Atlantic City Electric was notified about the one behind the church. The one behind the police station goes on and off. So sometimes it could be working, other times it's not. But it's extremely dark. I did notify the police, but it still isn't getting done. I don't know if council can do something to push Atlantic City Electric to correct this safety issue. My other question has to do with, we are looking not to advance that new parking ordinance for residential parking spots. Just for clarification, that does limit only people that are residents. You can't get that if you have a commercial property, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, are they checking that people that get this don't have a mercantile license? Yep. Because it sounds like there is I'll talk after work. I don't want to put it on the record or anything. Okay. My next question has to do with the West Cape May Police Station. What is the final figure that we are going to be receiving from West Cape May?
So I can give a summary of that because we didn't really dive into the details. Similar to the Cape May Point contract, there's an FTE factor analysis, and it's based on the actual cost of the department for the year. And the total of that number is $745,389. So that's the annual fee for 2026. And then there'll be a reconciliation of 2027's budget numbers as applied to that 4.5 officer equivalent that we'll do on an annual basis, similar to the Cape May Point contract. But the initial year is set in the contract, and that's the figure. Also similar to to Cape May Point, we have the county dispatch fee. But what the parties have agreed for the initial 2 years of this contract, and it's a 6-year contract for West Cape May. It's a 5-year contract for Cape May Point. The county dispatch fee is going to be exchanged for the city's ability to continue to lease the substation over there for 2 years. And then when the police station the new police station is eventually finished, the idea is that the city's probably not going to need that space, and there's the ability to terminate that lease. And in which case, once we vacate the substation in West Cape May and no longer have use for that, or they decide that they need it for whatever reason after 2 years, that's when the county dispatch fee will kick in, just like on the same terms that we have in the Cape May Point agreement. It's based on per calls and how many calls that we're getting for them.
Is West Cape May going to contribute to the $8 million new police station?
That's not part of the budget analysis. We just wanted to do operational administrative costs, and that was the basis for the budgetary figure that we apply the 4.5 FT analysis to.
Okay.
I mean, and the logic to that really is that we need a new police station independent of whether we're servicing those new towns. Certainly there'll be a benefit to that, but really it's a need that we have regardless of the existence of those agreements.
Okay, even though the size was probably built larger because of the other two municipalities?
I don't know that that's the case necessarily.
Okay.
But
Okay. My next question is, you're talking about the sidewalk on Elmira Street that don't have sidewalks. Isn't that the residents' responsibility to put in sidewalks? Is there a reason why the city is going to be taking on that responsibility to put in some resident sidewalks versus the person being responsible for putting in their sidewalk?
No sidewalk exists at this point.
Right, but isn't it the responsibility of the resident to put one in?
To maintain, I don't know if it's a requirement to add.
So in other words, people can build a house and not put sidewalks in? I don't think that's how it works.
No, new subdivisions, newly created streets have a requirement to do that, but if I have an existing house, existing property that does not have sidewalks, which there's not many in the city of Cape May that are existing properties that do not have sidewalks, there's no obligation for them to build it. And part of the reason why they never build a sidewalk where is really because that tree that we're taking down as well as that they're part of their parking lot where they park.
Well, only reason why I'm saying this is because I know when I was younger, our house, we did not have a sidewalk that continued to the other person's sidewalk next to her. And the city came in and said that we had to put that sidewalk in. And it was our responsibility to put the sidewalk in. So that's the only reason why I'm asking, why are we putting in somebody else's sidewalk when it should be the responsibility of the homeowner? That was just my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Yeah, sure.
Mike Barker from 1017 New Jersey. I just wanted to say thank you. I actually came here to speak on the parking. I didn't realize that people really watch YouTube and watch these things. I made all sorts of friends this week. I even got fan mail in the thing. So I know I was the only person that showed up, but I did want to thank Ms. Bodnar, especially thank you for your email exchange. And I just feel very much appreciated that there was a reconsideration and here now. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
I wish I got fan mail from our meetings. Thank you, Mike. Anyone else this evening? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Everyone have a wonderful evening. The time is 15 minutes till 7 p.m.
Stay safe.